Connor Doobie here to do a quick, just literally 5 minutes in between meetings, live stream on, the B2B Mentors Podcast Network. Do everything from interviews, topics, high level discussions, solo content like I'm doing now, and some very exciting guest episodes that we have rolling out here very shortly, which you'll want to check out. Make sure you're subscribed, B2B Mentors, on all your favorite podcast apps. And we get to nerd out about B2B marketing, business to business, or back to back, or brains to brains, however you want to put it, and nerd out about, business development, marketing strategies, sales, very fun topic, and, things that are timely. And what I'm hearing talking not only to high level guests, but hundreds of other marketers out there, some of the things they're struggling with. And I think a very big piece of that right now is the major concern, here towards the tail end going into 2024, figuring out, like, what do I add into my marketing, right? And so the biggest roadblocks in the world, and a lot of what I've figured out, just in, making mistakes, is it's not always about what you add that's going to make you successful. Oftentimes it's more so about what you remove from what it is you're doing that will make you more successful. And so you may be out there looking at all the different channels you have set up: pay-per-click, AdWords, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn. You're doing email, you're doing outbound, you're doing prospecting, you're doing account-based marketing, you're doing inbound, you're doing SEO, you name it, right? All these activities at the end of the day are going to lead one place and one place only: when people decide they want to do business with you. If you can guess where that is, it is your website. It is all roads to a sale eventually lead through to your website. But oftentimes you're running so many different things, so many different channels, that you don't know where to narrow in, where to focus, and where to scale out and amplify. And thankfully I've had access to so many Fortune 500 CMOs that I've learned from, gotten mentored from. Many of you have been able to listen, into these folks just by tuning into this podcast. And the most successful ones are not out there in, like, what it is that they're adding so much, but what it is they can remove from things and dial in on the one core channel that is actually creating an impact for them, that is actually working, and then figuring out, how do I double down? How do I scale that out? But one major thing that, again, no matter how successful of a marketer you are, and you go back to, even if your business, and you're like, hey, we don't do marketing, our business doesn't work like that. Well, word of mouth, referrals, right? Even through word of mouth and referrals, most of that business opportunity are going to come. They're going to vet out your website. And what they're going to do is validate you. They're going to check your credibility. They're maybe going to go there to learn. And oftentimes they're going to go there and say, okay, this is interesting, nice site. I'm going to go check out some competitors. I'm going to go look at other businesses. Or maybe I get busy, distracted. I leave, and the numbers state roughly only about 1 to 2% of any of that traffic that you're, adding into all these channels, whether they're, you got a big funnel happening, you got a small funnel happening, you're really successful across the board in whatever channels you're tapping into. Only 1 to 2% of those that ever come back through, if it's a landing page, if it's your website, are going to actually convert. So what does that mean for you as a marketer, possibly a business owner listening into this? Is that you're roughly losing 98% of a return on a quicker investment from marketing investment spend that you've already put out there. Think about that for a second. There's a vast majority of these leads that you've already spent money on them. You've already invested to get them to notice you. And in their case, timing, money, need, some of these things maybe just haven't aligned yet for them to be ready to do business. But what do you need to do as a smart business operator, as a smart marketer, as a smart salesperson is get them somehow converted minimally into the top end of your pipeline, or if they are in that 3%, right? Only 3% of your entire buyer market is ever ready to actually purchase from you at any given time. How do you convert those? Now, another interesting stat on this point, roughly about 80% of deals that are won, 80% plus of B2B deals that are won happen, and the contract is awarded to the team that gets in front of that prospect first and is able to continuously nurture them and provide the most value throughout that buying cycle. So if you can get to them first, number one, toughest challenge, being able to reach those people. Number two, being able to consistently stay in front of them. And so what's the roadblocks to this? There's two things. One is you don't have your back-end systems. You could be doing all the right things, but you don't have your backup systems to nurture those leads. That's where content comes to play. Number two, you don't even have the way to capture and identify these leads that you're literally bleeding through the other end of your funnel. And that's where there's fantastic tools like Convert a Visit, for example. I mean, you can put that on your website and almost instantaneously in real time, start getting the names, verified phone number, email address, the name of the company, the source of the lead, and how interested they are in your products and services based on time, based on metrics of what they have looked at. Now, you may think to yourself, okay, I've got CRM, like I've got HubSpot, I've got Pardot, I've got whatever. I can see this. But what you're not seeing are those leads that are not already in your pipeline. They're not already engaged with you in one form or another. Again, those are the ones that come check you out and then they fall out the other end of the funnel right through your website, potentially into the hands of your competitors. So if you can first remove the roadblocks of identifying what's working, right? What you need to eliminate to be able to either add more channels going into next year or dial in and really scale and focus on some core channels that are actually working for you and tweak and twist. And then once you get those working, scaling it out to the other areas, but also removing the roadblock of no matter what you're doing, being able to track it. And I think that's where a lot of frustration is. How do I track these people that maybe I'm putting content out on social? Maybe I'm doing a lot of email campaigns, and the biggest roadblock is just the ones that you cannot see happening. You cannot see it. And so you don't know what you don't know. And what you do not know could be very much hurting the bottom line on the other end of your sales funnels. So that's where I would recommend checking out. We've used this tool for a number of years, use it for a lot of clients of ours, is that Convert a Visit tool, because it'll connect the technology and the data and the reporting with everything else that you're doing. So I'd recommend before in order to recapture the ROI that you're doing, in order to move forward, and before you even consider spending another dime on your marketing and continuing to scale that out, make sure you have the tools in place to remove the roadblocks to be able to capture and recapture more of the ROI that's coming to your site. Now, let me know. What do you think about this? Do you have tools you like? How do you measure this? How do you convert these? Are you, have never heard of anything like this? Drop a question, drop a comment in the video below. Make sure, again, I'll put all the audio to this on the podcast apps if you want to go listen later on. And make sure you subscribe. I really appreciate you tuning in, your time, attention, everything. And I hope that you are having a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys